Hi,
Hola,
I'm Drew.
I'm Chandler
Welcome to Down the Badger Hole.
with Drew and Chandler.
And sometimes Whiskey, who is down here right now, but he may pop
You,
up.
yeah, you'll see him.
He looks kind of like a badger, ironically.
Kind of.
So how was your week?
Fucking busy, man.
Yeah.
Really busy.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't even really remember what I did.
So many things that you couldn't remember what they all were.
I'm like French fried.
Oh yeah, sun's out, guns out. Although for people as white as Chandler, it's sun's out, get burnt.
Sun's out, get burnt.
Yeah.
Well, I did it on purpose because I ate a farmer's tan. So I was like, I'm just gonna wear a cutoff today.
I'm just gonna burn myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did a lot of work. Oh, you guys did a lot of work today. I basically just supplied a baby for people to.
Some supervising is what was provided.
Sure, yeah.
And-
I
and-
definitely supervise.
And a baby.
And, he's a big morale boost to everyone
Yeah.
around, so that's always
How are
good.
your balls?
They hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Double the size.
Yeah. That's
scary.
about how they feel. No,
You're just trying to calm yourself down.
I am because
It's scary.
it's a medical procedure and it can be terrifying. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm good. I'm great. My hair is doing crazy stuff, but I'm awesome.
Put a hat on.
No, I'm all right.
All right.
We're just going to roll with it.
No, that's fair.
So what are we talking about today?
HAARP?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, HAARP. Do you know what HAARP is?
Not a single thing.
It is.
Okay, hold on. Time out. I'm going to apologize.
It's an Irish beer.
Well,
It is.
I'm going to apologize because I never know shit about what he's talking about. It's because, like, I don't think it's useless shit, but it's shit that, like, most people don't really hear about. At least I don't think so.
Well, I mean,
I can't put myself in the most people category.
true.
So I guess I don't know about that. But like some very intelligent people, aka my wife and brother-in-law, who the dialogue pass incident,
Mhm.
they didn't know anything about that.
Wow.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Glad I can be expanding a couple of minds.
And then I told them about it, and they thought it was nuts.
Yeah, it's
'Cause it
pretty.
is.
It's pretty
It's
bonkers.
nuts. If you haven't watched that video,
Go back, check it out.
check the link below. It's pretty good. It's a
Yeah.
pretty good video.
I definitely agree. All right. Well, in that case, I'll just go ahead and jump into it.
All right,
HAARP.
I'm out. How's everyone else's week? Let us know.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, good job, Chan. HAARP, or the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program.
Okay.
That's what HAARP stands for, HAARP. And it's very interesting because there are two different Wikipedia pages. One for HAARP, HAARP, and one for the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. I've never seen that before in any of the research I've done, because that's the first place I generally go is Wikipedia, just to get the basics out of the way and then kind of expand from there.
Isn't Wikipedia like really bad?
You're not allowed to use it as like a citation for college essays, that type of thing, but they cite themselves. So if you're citing them, then you can just click the little thing at the bottom of the page to tell you exactly where that information came from and then cite that.
Nice. I was gonna say there's a little hack, but most of our audience is not in college.
I don't know. If you are in college, those little numbers at the end of some of the Wikipedia sentences, just click that shit and it'll take you straight into where they got that information from.
So 50% of the viewers lately haven't been subscribed.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What are y'all doing?
And then 50% of them are 55 to 65.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean,
And then like 30
Medicare open enrollment is right around the corner, so get ready for that.
You want to know the percentage of 18 to 25?
0.
0. That's pretty awesome. They probably hate me, but like
What, the old people?
it just
Or the older generation?
he just called you old.
I did.
Don't hate me, hate him.
Oh, they're probably like, this damn kid's he's got no sleeves on. I'm just kidding. I love people of all age. I love people. Oh God.
That's going on TikTok.
Yeah, we should cut that out, but we're not gonna.
No.
All right. Jesus. Okay. So, do you, Chandler, and you at home, Do you believe that if given the opportunity, the U.S. government would throw money at someone that believed they could produce the technology to control the weather?
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
What if they had the science to back that up? Even more money, right? Just bags and bags, Scrooge McDuck amounts of money. Well, that's pretty much how this story starts.
Okay.
In 1984, ARCO, the Atlantic Richfield Oil Company, hired a physicist by the name of Dr. Bernard J. Eastlund with a U, not an A, to figure out what to do with a 30 trillion cubic foot deposit of oil found in northern Alaska.
Okay.
That's a lot of oil.
That's a lot.
It's enough to power everything in the country of the United States for a year.
That's pretty crazy, actually.
It's a ton of oil.
Fun fact. So whenever I worked at the coal mine,
in
one day, we distributed enough coal to run the U.S. For 3 hours in one day.
That's cray.
Yeah.
This was a year though.
Oh yeah.
For a whole year. That's a big deposit of oil.
How many days, or like how long did it take for them to acquire it?
They didn't. They just found it. And they were like, "This how much is there?"
Okay.
I get into it. Don't worry.
Okay.
Specifically north of Gakona, Alaska, so the middle of fucking nowhere, essentially. It was too expensive to pipe anywhere else.
Which is fair.
Right, because
and it's Alaska.
Running pipelines is expensive. So they were like, well, what are we going to do with this? That's why they hired Dr. Eastland. ARCO then founded Advanced Power Technologies Incorporated, or APTI, and made Dr. Eastland one of the chief officers, which meant that all of the patents that he filed while working for ARCO could freely be used by the company. While the man who theorized all of this stuff, some of it's admittedly very much out there, he was given a nice cushy office in Houston, Texas, very far away from where they were doing any of this research. So the way that worked is they created this sub company.
Okay.
To basically sell the gas to themselves.
Correct.
Yeah. So he was like, oh yeah, Eastland was like, put a giant research facility here. He was like, I got some ideas. And you should just use all of that oil to power your own research stuff. And they were like, great fucking idea. Here's a bunch of money. Also, go to Houston. After he had filed a handful, I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, of patents under this company that they owned.
Do you get why?
Like,
do you get into why he went to Houston?
Yeah, they just didn't want him around.
Okay.
Nobody actually knows because it's kind of weird. Because they built this research institute based off of his ideas, then they were like, be gone.
So we're just going to use you for this quick idea, and that's about it.
It's kind of the way it seems. Now let's talk a bit more in depth about Dr. Eastland. He was born in 1938. He received his BS in physics from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, and his PhD in physics from Columbia University. He's no slouch educationally.
Yeah.
In 1970, he received a Special Achievement Certificate from the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission for co-invention of the fusion torch. And I was like, that sounds like some Fallout shit. So what's a fusion torch? It's a technique for utilizing the high temperature plasma of a fusion reactor to break apart other materials, specifically waste materials, and convert them into a few reusable and sealable elements. So basically, big brains. He big brain time all the time with this guy. Oh. And they were like, be gone.
Elements, as in
not breaking them down into hydrogen, or I mean that could be it, but that's not what that specifically says. It breaks them down into more manageable components.
Okay.
That would have just been waste material.
Okay.
Some other notable patents, and specifically ones that have garnered attention by other conspiracy theorists. The method and apparatus for altering a region in the Earth's atmosphere, ionosphere, and or magnetosphere. And then it explains the whole thing. And this is a patent that he was approved for, assigned to APTI Inc. in 1987. And it's ionizing neutral particles absorbed as part of the region, thereby increasing the charged particle density of the region. Basically, if you shoot a bunch of charged particles into a part of the atmosphere, it does things to the atmosphere.
Obviously.
Weird, right? Let's see. Oh, hold on. Let me read this one and then I'll go back a little bit.
Okay.
A method for producing a shell of relativistic particles at an altitude above the Earth's surface. Method for establishing a region of a high-density, high-energy plasma at an altitude of about 1,500 kilometers above the Earth's surface. Circularly polarized electromagnetic radiation is transmitted at a first frequency substantial parallel to the Earth's magnetic field, in line to excite electron-cyclotron resonance heating in normally occurring plasma at an altitude of at least about 250 kilometers to generate a mirror force which lifts said plasma to said altitude of at least about 115 kilometers. So superheating the atmosphere to change where the atmospheric lines, where the specific barriers lay. Heating is continued at a second frequency to expand the plasma to the apex of said field line, whereupon at least some of the plasma is trapped and oscillates between mirror points on said lines. The plasma will be contained within adjacent field lines and will drift to form a shell of relativistic particles around a portion of the Earth. Big fucking science shit for we're gonna make stuff hot.
Okay.
We're gonna make it really, really hot. But he also had patents for like a tubing collar for oil well drilling, and how like a heater for that exact same purpose, and like how to create a current through like a live oil well. So like all stuff in the same realm of like, okay, oil, this is happening. These are things that we could use to benefit how we produce this. So basically, Dr. Eastland was, and I say was because he died in 2007, one of these hypergenius types of people that did genuinely seem to want to make use. What? Hold on. He was super fucking smart, unlike me, apparently. And he wanted to help people.
Okay.
It does seem that he was altruistic. But, like with Nikola Tesla, another full episode topic, do not worry, the powers that be see potential like this and think, how can we weaponize this? Are you raising your hand, or is it just
no, I'm showing them my sunburn line.
Ah.
Look at that in the camera.
I mean, there's a shadow there, so it looks weird. Scattering the radar and communication systems on board ICBMs passing through the ionosphere would be a pretty straightforward way of doing that.
Okay.
Which was one of the theories that Eastland proposed when pitching the original idea. So, makes sense. Especially when you take into account that the Navy slapped a secrecy order on one of these patents that he had to fight in court to get back. It took him over a year, but his patent was granted in 1987. So he was granted that patent in 1987.
Okay.
He was fired from the project sometime in 1989.
Okay.
So they were like, be gone to Houston with you. Also, all your ideas are belong to us. Also, bye.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. HAARP officially launched December 13th, 1989. So the end of the year. Just to make sure that Eastland is completely out of the picture, it seems.
Okay.
After DARPA, which is the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, had gotten involved. If anyone's familiar with DARPA, not at all. Okay, so what they do is they're a branch of the government. They're like one of the 3-letter, but they're 5 letters. They basically research up and coming science and technologies to go, oh, how can this benefit the military industrial complex?
Okay.
Specifically the U.S. military industrial complex.
Okay.
So, like, that's another point in the, this was totally at one point supposed to be a weapon category. Because they're not just like DARPA's not going to be like, oh, man, you're doing cancer research? Great. Give us that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you're doing shit that could potentially be some really crazy out there, like, what the fuck, doomsday type stuff? We want that.
We want all of that, not just
all of it. A memo that circulated within the defense community stated that this array could improve military radio communications, disturb missiles, Both of those make sense. Sabotage enemy communications. Perhaps, yeah. And send low frequency pulses into any part of the Earth.
That's kind of creepy.
Yeah. And we know from the Dyatlov Pass episode
The frequency is, I mean, it's a factor in everything.
well, yeah, but low frequency pulses specifically can do crazy things to the human body.
Yeah.
There was even a theory within the memo that stated future plans to use it as ground penetrating radar to discover hidden weapons caches anywhere in the world.
So, like, if you wanted to find, like, North Korea's fucking...
Yeah, where their nukes at. Or, like, Iran, you know, they were building nukes. Where are they at? Shoot this shit from the ground up to a satellite somehow, or bounce it off the ionosphere, and then
I mean, it
get a
wouldn't surprise me.
3D map of whatever's underground. So APTI was officially greenlighted to start construction. This is 89. I should point out that ARCO was bringing in about $5 million a year in revenue at this time. The HAARP project, however, was netting them close to $25 million a year from the U.S. government.
How much?
$25 million.
Or why?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah. No,
okay.
exactly.
Okay.
So if their overall revenue across the whole company was $5 million a year, and they weren't like a massive oil company by any stretch of the imagination.
No, I've never heard of them, and
they kind of went. I think they're still around in a very small capacity, but they were bought out by another, still not massive oil.
Okay.
Yeah. They were a subsidiary of BP and then got bought by somebody else, and yeah, whatever.
Okay.
But $25 million a year.
But you're only,
and that's their government contract. Is 5 times what the whole company made on average.
For what?
Well, you tell me. E-Systems, sorry, English is hard, then took ownership of the antenna array in late 1993. See, there's whiskey.
There's whiskey.
After APTI suddenly divested. They were bought and then kind of dissolved. There's not a lot of info out there about E-Systems other than the fact that they developed things like military satellites for the U.S. government.
Okay.
Tracking systems for ICBMs. Military hardware of pretty much anything that wasn't a gun. But they only ran HAARP for a little over a year. In 1994, the U.S. Senate insisted that HAARP begin investing heavily into Earth-penetrating technology. Instead of fight that losing battle and potentially lose their funding, they complied because, yeah, of course, the government tells you to do something, you're probably just going to do it.
9 times out of 10.
And at this phase of construction to the array, that was something relatively simple to accomplish as it required far less power than fucking with the ionosphere. It was something like 1/10 of the power. I get into all the power specs here in a minute. Kinda crazy. So Raytheon, which is currently called RTX Corporation and is the 4th largest U.S. defense contractor. 4th largest defense contractor.
Like currently?
Like currently. Like this is today. They were called Raytheon, they're now called RTX, and they are today the 4th largest defense contractor in the country. They acquired E-Systems.
Where are they located?
In 1995. What?
Like, I know that they're in this country.
What do you mean where they're located?
Like
this array is in Alaska.
Okay.
In 1996, Congress allotted an extra $10 million to HAARP for nuclear counter-proliferation.
For what?
So the idea was that let's say Russia launches a missile, right? It's traveling up through the ionosphere. That this thing shoots off its frequency
Before it enters.
No, it just disturbs the space where any missiles are going to be. And it basically fucks up the sonar and the radar and all the GPS orientation on it. And theoretically that would totally work, especially when you can pinpoint so with it's again, it's theorized because they're still hush hush, even though they're not. It's very weird, but it's they could superheat a part of the ionosphere as small as a deck of playing cards or as large as a football field, depending on the power output that they put.
Okay.
So, like, if you know where a missile is because our spy satellites
Yeah.
have tracked it, then you go, okay, it's right there. It's right over the South China Sea, whatever. Click, 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 click. All right, we're gonna fuck up that whole area right there. We're gonna do a couple passes, so it's like 7 or 8 miles worth of ionic interference, and yeah. This is in 1996.
Yeah, when shit wasn't as intelligent as it is now.
Well, technology has progressed a lot in the last
20 years.
28 years.
Fucking shit, the last...
But like the Star Wars project, which you and I have personally seen
Yeah.
like evidence of in White Sands, New Mexico,
Yeah.
that shit was done in the 70s where
Yeah.
they made a 1-inch hole in like 3/4 inch steel from space.
Which is fucking crazy. And that was in the 70s. It just goes to show like how much shit that we don't know.
How much shit we're not allowed to know.
Yeah.
Like, and I know I look like a mad scientist with my hair, and I feel a bit like a mad scientist right now because
Really not that bad.
I feel like it's pretty bad. But like, even so, I try to point out when research for a topic is difficult than it normally is, more difficult than it normally is. And this one was very difficult. And on a lot of like Reddit posts and that kind of stuff, it seems like Google, or according to a lot of Reddit posts, it seems like Google is like trying to dissuade people from thinking differently about the like official story for almost everything. If you Google NHI, which is commonly like non-human intelligence, extraterrestrials, it's like several pages in before you get anything about ETs. I'm not saying it's like, oh, this is being done intentionally, but working on this podcast, I feel like this shit is becoming intentional, because why are there two different Wikipedia entries for the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how any of that shit really works. I'm not gonna sit here and lie about it, but I don't know. I think every single fucking back to the Dyatlov Pass incident, you're still holding shit from that, even though you already closed the case.
Closed the case twice.
Yeah, and have stated, oh, it was just a fucking avalanche.
It was a slab avalanche.
Yeah.
Even though there's never been
Those don't
one
happen
recorded
here.
there.
These don't happen here, but that's what this was.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like you're still holding evidence and shit. So like I don't know. I don't know. We've always yeah.
Well, so the Department of Defense, being the Department of Defense, the only information that we have about this specific funding that they pushed toward HAARP was literally just that the HAARP transmitter was compatible with underground X-ray technology. That's all it's taxpayer money that they're being given. And that's all that we were told about that. So like, I guess like have our money. Here's an extra 10 mil on top of the 25 mil or more, because who knows if you renegotiated that contract when you got bought out by Raytheon.
Even though you only really
even though you're a research institute who's just researching the ionosphere,
which isn't true.
It doesn't
Who the
seem to
fuck?
be.
Why would the fuck would you need $25 million?
I mean, you got to power it. Oh no, wait, that's what all the gas was for. Oil, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's so stupid.
I think we're gonna have a shorter than normal episode.
And that's absolutely fine. I mean, I've worked my ass off all day.
Yeah.
I'm fucking fried to the crisp.
Yeah, you are.
Like
You're pink like a
you guys can't really see it, and
newborn
my
mouse.
face isn't sunburnt, and like from elbows down isn't because they see sun every day. But like the white bits of me that don't see it every day are like a fucking. It's bad.
They don't care though.
Well, they might.
In August of 1997, NASA tested the effects of HAARP on its WIND satellite, which orbits.
I've heard of this.
It's a satellite.
Yeah.
And it specifically tracks changes in our ionosphere.
Correct.
When HAARP was aimed at the satellite, powered up, all communication went down. So there you have it. That is on the books, record evidence of it's able to disrupt satellites.
Yeah.
Which are higher than the ionosphere.
Correct.
So in 2014, it was announced that, and there was a bunch of weird shit that happened between there, but I would notes. In 2014, it was announced that Raytheon was shuttering the HAARP project. There was a big hullabaloo about it in all of the conspiracy circles. And everybody was kind of like, yay, the weather manipulating, earthquake progeniting, mind controlled death ray from the sky is done. Yay. In August 2015, the University of Alaska Fairbanks was given control of the station for research purposes. Which that one I actually buy because they're a college. Like they're not doing anything crazy. But so from 97, when we know they were capable of doing shady shit.
And completely changing fucking everything. Essentially, I mean, you got weather. Well, you have communication.
So communication definitely. All of the major like researchers that deal with weather would have you believe that weather does not occur that far up because the ionosphere is the furthest out layer of our atmosphere before you get to just space.
Yeah.
Right. But if you're able to superheat that high up, theoretically you could do the same thing lower.
A little bit lower.
And what happens with heat, Chandler?
Rises.
It rises. That's wow. So when heat rises, and let's say you have a cold front moving in a specific direction, what could that potentially do?
A lot.
Yeah.
You know, pressure change kind of makes I don't know,
storms, wind. That's how tsunamis can happen. That's how hurricanes can happen.
Tornadoes are literally just changes in pressure.
Yeah, it's
that
a
just
low pressure
drop
system moving into a
and
high
go
pressure
up.
system, and they go. Yeah.
That's what happens. Just so you guys know.
Yeah, it goes. No, it's a low pressure cold front and a high pressure warm front,
and whenever they collide, the heat rises
like that, and
it
creates a swirling pattern generally.
Yep.
Okay, so now the world is safe. Right?
No.
What? All right, so let's talk about what HAARP is at face value.
Oh.
What? You good?
Fucking hip hurts, man.
Oh, well, don't be old. Ha! The main equipment of HAARP is the Ionospheric Research Instrument, or IRI. This is a high-power, high-frequency phased array radio transmitter with a set of 180 antennas, which we actually have a picture of. If you're watching live, it'll be up in just a second while I'm talking. Disposed in an array of 12 by 15 units that occupy a rectangle of about 30 to 40 acres. So if you're like driving by this thing, this is pretty much what it looks like. For those that aren't watching, it looks like a field of transformer towers. Kinda.
Kind of.
Like, kind of. They've got big, like...
It looks... Yeah.
Like, there's nothing particularly ominous about it,
well,
but it's...
Well, that's just not true at all, actually.
It kind of looks like large TV antennas,
if
like
you
really big.
If you guys are watching, I mean, you can see how far this goes.
Well, it's 30 to 40 acres.
Of just this?
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
It's 15 by 12. It's big. The facility officially began full operations in its final status of 3.6 megawatts transmitter power in the summer of 2007.
And what is this for, technically?
For ionospheric research.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yielding a maximum effective radiated power, or ERP, of 5.1 gigawatts. Or 97.1 decibel watts. 5.1 gigawatts is a lot.
A lot
A
of
lot of fucking
fucking
power.
a lot of fucking electricity.
I read that you can power between 1,200 and 3,000 U.S. homes for a year off of that. And
I
this,
believe it.
this can just shoot that whenever it wants.
I'd also like to point out that, like, what was it, 2020, 2022, when we had those out of this country blimps?
Oh, I mean, there was one like less than a year ago
Yeah,
that were from China that were then shot down in the ocean, but some of them also weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they came from
Yeah.
Alaska down, it seemed.
Which, I mean, if it was just a straight up blimp, kind of makes sense because they run off of air.
Oh, yeah, some of them had like fans and shit on them. They were multi-directional. They were being controlled by someone. But then an F-16 shot one of them down, and it took them like 3 weeks to recover in the fucking ocean.
How does that happen?
I don't know.
It doesn't. It fucking doesn't. It doesn't it just doesn't fucking happen.
Why are you gonna let it get all the way over the U.S. before you shoot it down in the first place?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm pointing this shit out.
There are so many fields from literally West Coast to East Coast.
Well,
and
and
you could have just.
Well, and it wasn't. Yeah.
I know. However, so 5.1 gigawatts, shitload of power. However, the site supposedly operates at a fraction of that power due to the lower antenna gain exhibited at frequencies used in standard operation. Like, no, we're going at lower. We're not using all that power. The time between 2014 when it was closed and when it was taken over by the University of Alaska in 2015, it was obviously not operational, right?
Correct.
Less than a year.
It was operational.
No, less than a year. It still cost them $3 million to keep this thing powered.
How?
When it wasn't on?
Yeah.
When it wasn't on. $3 million. That's crazy. So why the conspiracies? Gee, I wonder. And this bit was taken straight from Wikipedia because I just didn't want to type it up. Real talk. So Nick Begich, Begich Jr.
He just fucking butchered that name.
Probably.
I apologize to you.
Yeah. Nick, if you're out there, send us an email. badgerholepodcast@gmail.com.
Or just comment how much Drew butchered your name.
Yeah, sorry, man. Begich.
Stop
He was the son of the late U.S. Representative Nick Begich. So he was the one I'm talking about was Junior. And brother of former U.S. Senator Mark Begich. And retired Alaska State Senator Tom Begich. Is the author of Angels Don't Play This HAARP, HAARP, which I think it's a clever title. Don't listen to what all the Amazon reviews say, man. He has claimed that the HAARP facility could trigger earthquakes and turn the upper atmosphere into a giant lens so that the sky could literally appear to burn. He maintains a website that claims HAARP is a mind control device.
Oh, wait, this was
I mean, this dude, he's related to some people, some like people that were all up there in the U.S. representative and like
so
senator.
HAARP is just keeping the simulation going.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's not on this list, but that's almost as out there as all the rest of these shit. It's more out there, maybe. A Russian military journal wrote that ionospheric testing would trigger a cascade of electrons that could flip the Earth's magnetic poles. So much so that Putin was like, this is not a good thing. We have to build our own.
If Putin's scared of it.
If Putin's scared of it, we need a level playing field now. We cannot allow American pigs to have magnetic pole flipping technology, which, nah. The science is not out on that one. It can't do that. That's kind of what they theorized would happen when they tested their first like nuclear device. They were like, it could just keep going, but it didn't because that's not how fission works.
Like any of it.
Yeah. The Alaska state legislature and the European Parliament held hearings about HAARP, the latter citing environmental concerns. It was a little more in depth than that. I didn't write it down because I was listening to like 3 different things all at once. But one of the European countries that I don't want to say because I would definitely be getting it wrong, straight up said like they held many hearings about it, about HAARP specifically, and they were like, this is 100% a weapon.
Fucking $25 million. $3 million with nothing operating.
And no one there.
Yeah, well,
Like theoretically.
no one there.
Not operating and no one there. Former governor of Minnesota and ex-professional wrestler and documentary maker Jesse Ventura questioned whether the government is using the site to manipulate the weather or to bombard people with mind-controlling radio waves. An Air Force spokeswoman said Ventura made an official request to visit the research station, but was rejected. He and his crew showed up at HAARP. Anyway, they were denied access.
Researchers? No. Don't need those. That's what we're paying them $25 million for.
I mean, Jesse Ventura was he wasn't out there, dude. I don't actually know if he's still alive or not.
I don't know.
But I mean, I don't know. Physicist Bernard Eastland claimed that HAARP includes technology based on his own patents that have the capability to modify weather and neutralize satellites. He's quoted as saying, "They're up there."
And that's who...
That's the dude whose patents all this shit is based on.
Yeah, and if he's saying, oh yeah, they can control the weather, and I don't know, in the last 2 months, the U.S. has seen, I shit you not,
The auroras?
well, the auroras.
Mm-hmm.
You want to take a gander on how many fucking tornadoes the U.S. has been hit with?
This is like
Take a guess.
the craziest storm season that we've had in
Take
decades.
Genuinely
I
take a guess.
don't know, 300?
292 tornadoes in the
really
past.
close
Yeah,
guess.
it was really close. Brazil got hit with a tornado for the first time in history.
Recorded history.
Yeah. Like, the amount of crazy shit, like, it was 90 degrees today.
Yeah.
Wyoming doesn't hit 90 until maybe the end of July.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It-
We also didn't get shit for snow this year.
That's true.
Last year, we got flooded out. Like, what? Yeah, weather.
Yeah. It's crazy. But
Which-
we'll do a global warming episode.
Well, yes.
Don't
but,
worry about that.
But another thing with weather in Wyoming is they don't want people living here for countless amounts of reasons. Like, government doesn't want people living here for quite a few reasons. 2 of them are, well, nukes and taxes. They want people to spend more money on the government.
I mean,
Well-
okay.
So, like, Wyoming's weather is not great. It's fucking windy as shit every single day.
Southern Wyoming specifically.
Yeah, southern Wyoming. Like, yeah, yeah. The only state or the only place in Wyoming, like town in Wyoming, that gets as windy as it gets is here. Consistently speaking.
I mean,
Like, it gets windy everywhere, but like consistently 70+ mile an hour winds.
yeah, we had 120 mile an hour gusts.
Yeah.
Like,
A week ago.
it was a little more than that at this point. But yeah, it knocked down like trees and
Fences
shit.
and
Like,
trees.
it was.
Like,
I had to go save my wife's car because it was about to get fucking smushed.
yeah.
Sorry. Super professional. In the United States, there have been 2 related ionospheric heating facilities.
That's whiskey. Sorry.
The HIPAAs near Fairbanks, Alaska. Ironic that there's another one up there.
Yeah.
Which was dismantled in 2009, and one at the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico, which is technically
Yeah.
in the U.S. And that's actually the one that was featured on X-Files, that giant satellite dish-looking motherfucker. That's
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah. It was also in one of the James Bond films.
Don't even try. You're gonna be
Yeah.
wrong.
It was one of the Pierce Brosnan ones. But that collapsed in 2020. I didn't hear anything about that, did you?
No, I didn't.
And that was massive.
Like literally huge.
He was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, giant satellite dish.
Huge.
Technically, it wasn't a satellite dish, but it was a parabolic dish. The European Incoherent Scatter Scientific Association, or IceCat, operates an I'm so sorry. Operates an ionospheric heating facility capable of transmitting over 1 gigawatt effective radiated a lot.
Yeah.
Not as much as HAARP, but a lot. Near Tromsø in Norway. There's an O with a line through it. I'm not sure how to
They don't
pronounce
care.
that. They do care.
I think it's a no.
Tromsø. I think it's like the VO.
Maybe.
I'm probably really wrong.
I don't care.
The Sura ionospheric heating facility in Vasilsursk, Russia.
Why did you do this?
Why did I do what? I was typing notes earlier and I was very tired.
Every other sentence you have to triple pronounce something.
Vasilsursk.
Carry on.
Again, Russia, near Nizhny Novgorod, is capable of transmitting 190 milliwatts ERP, which is the effective radiated power, which is significantly lower than.
Still a lot.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to touch on a couple of things. Are you familiar with Savannah syndrome at all?
Yes and no. I've heard of it. I don't know what it is.
So there was a hotel in Cuba that when Russian or diplomats, specifically American ones, would go to Cuba, they would stay there.
Okay.
Havana, not Savannah. I don't know why I wrote Havana. Savannah's in Georgia. And over the course of about like a year and a half, a lot of these diplomats were reporting feeling really weird, getting headaches. A lot of
Just at the Havana.
just at this hotel.
Okay.
So it's called Havana syndrome. Because sometimes their ailments would last much longer than they stay there, months into years.
Yeah.
And it was theorized that it was a counterintelligence group, probably Russian, that was using low frequency pulses to
Fuck with everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's just a little note. Also, the hums around the world.
Mm-hmm.
So like Bristol, England, Taos, New Mexico, Largs, Scotland, and Windsor, Canada.
Yeah.
Like all of those places have these crazy like angelic bugle sounding hums that everyone can hear, so it's not like an auditory mass hallucination or anything like that. And a lot of people theorize that HAARP or HAARP-like installations might be the cause of that.
Yeah. No.
And I could totally see that.
Same.
Yeah, you're throwing crazy frequencies up into the atmosphere, like, yeah. In November 2016, 2 Georgia men were arrested after procuring a massive arsenal of weapons to storm the HAARP facility and stop it from stealing their souls because God told them to. That was mostly in quotes. I did find it funny, though, that their massive arsenal, are you ready for this? Some Glock handguns,
Okay.
a couple of AR-15s,
Okay.
and a Remington rifle, along with thousands of rounds of ammo.
Okay.
I was like, that just sounds like a good day at the range to me. That doesn't sound like
Not
a
even.
military stockpile or anything like that. But I mean, if you're going to go fight a bunch of what you assume are nerds at a research facility because God told you to, you're probably not thinking the whole. You're not
Wow.
over there. I'm willing to bet. So yeah, they were arrested. HAARP now
Currently 2024.
Every year they do like open invitation, come check us out, come see what we're about. We're owned by a college now. So like the first time they did this was in 98, and then they didn't do it for a very long time after that until it was bought by the University of Alaska,
Which was in 2000.
15.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey guys, nothing to see here, but also don't fucking show up here, Jesse Ventura. We're watching you.
Yeah. Yeah. Now they probably are just researchers.
Yeah, but again, it's owned by a college.
Yeah.
So the last thing I want to point out, it's interesting that you brought up all the auroras because they were visible for like the majority of the US.
Fuck, we saw them.
I tried and couldn't see them.
Well, I personally did not see them.
Well, yeah, but people in our area took
Yeah.
pictures and videos and all sorts of stuff. I couldn't see them just because of where I live, I guess. But
I just didn't look.
yeah, normally you cannot see the aurora borealis from as far south as we are, but
From the U.S.
from Alaska you can.
Well, yes.
Which is
but,
the US.
Correct. You know what the fuck I mean, though.
But they were visible, well, that was last week or the week before.
Yeah.
And that's due to coronal mass ejections. Because the sun is entering its like 14-year cycle where it just starts shooting plasma off. And if it fucks with our ionosphere, then it makes crazy things happen.
Yep.
So like high frequency radio communications went down over a good portion of the US. UHF, which is ultra high frequency, was down for an even longer period of time. And then we had the auroras. And I there's an article from HAARP's website, which is now harp.gi.alaska.edu because it's owned by a university. And they straight up said like, hey, all those auroras you're seeing, that's not us. We didn't do that. And my brain immediately is like, why the fuck would you say that? Why would you write an article saying, no, guys, that wasn't us? Because that makes you sound more fucking incriminating in my eyes.
Well, it's hard because now it's just college kids and they think they could think the same.
It's not college kids.
No, but like, you know what I mean?
These are people that are getting their doctorates and master's degrees.
Yes.
These are adults.
But they're like, okay, we are safe now. We don't do what we used to do in the aspect of controlling
that's
shit.
The thing. Like, these kids, as you so put it, never did this kind of stuff.
No.
I doubt that any of the researchers that were working when it was a DARPA initiative were like, those people aren't around at HAARP anymore. So I think, okay, well, we'll just do what we do. We'll get out of the badger hole. Was HAARP developed to be a weapon, Chandler?
100%.
I could not agree with you more.
For so many fucking different reasons. The motherfucker that patented everything was like, hey, so with this, not in theory, not.
It was theoretical at the time because they hadn't built any of it.
Yes, but the motherfucker that has the patent on almost everything that is HAARP, right, was like, hey, just so you know, this is what can be done with this. This is a great way to spend all this oil. Yeah.
Sell it to yourself, make money, and research this thing that I think could be weaponized.
Like, the government's going to come to you after you patent everything, give you fucking God only knows how much money, and is like, all right, we want you, but now go to Houston, but now get the fuck out of here.
Well, and don't forget that the government straight up sealed one of his patents.
Yeah.
Which that's only supposed to happen if it is a matter of like national defense.
Which this wasn't.
On the surface level, it doesn't seem like it is. And in order to get a patent, even if it's for something theoretical, you have to provide the data to show that this is theoretically possible.
Yes.
And so someone at the patent office was like, yeah, that checks out to me. Boom, here you go. Let's make rain clouds disappear or appear at will. That sounds great.
And that last little snippet, oh, by the way, this wasn't us. Sketchy.
I don't like. Well, see, but it could just be tongue in cheek because it is a bunch of it's college students now.
Yeah.
So you're very much right. It could just be like, guys, that wasn't us because we know you think that there's some crazy conspiracy about us, which might have been true in the past, but now we're owned by the University of Alaska.
And that's more so what I'm going with. I believe that it wasn't them.
Yeah,
because
I don't either. Especially because like they allowed tours and stuff.
Yeah.
And
by the sounds of it, it's more frequent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way more frequent.
So it's like, I don't know. It's all fucking weird. You can't tell me those towers that I'm gonna pop up on the screen right now. That's for research.
Yeah, it's for research.
35 acres, you said?
20 to 30 acres.
The 30 fucking acres of just what looks like cell towers on
Yeah,
steroids.
but yeah. Because they don't look like cell phone towers.
Oh, no.
They look like giant TV antennas from back when like TV antennas were a thing.
Like,
which was before your time, but like
I kind of do like the theory because so there's so many different theories. Oh, fucking, they can melt the sky.
Let's run through them. Fucking with the ionosphere can scatter radar implementation.
For sure.
100%. Yeah, that the math checks out on that. Can it modify the weather?
For sure.
Yep, I'm right there with you. Can it be used for mind control?
No. Well, in theory, maybe, because if you're messing with the sky and you're messing with the weather, you are messing with people's minds. I don't think that it's like.
You don't think it's like Doctor?
No.
Dr. X, like.
So I don't think so. I could be completely wrong, but I don't think so.
Do you think it can make earthquakes?
For sure.
Yeah.
Quite sure. If you can heat up the fucking sky, all you have to do to make an earthquake is heat up the core a little bit.
Yeah, but if they're all pointed up, how's that?
To our knowledge, they're all pointed up. You don't fucking know.
Well, oh man, I really should have. Dutch sense. If you want to fall down a really good badger hole of your own, right here on YouTube, Dutch sense, DUTHSINSE. He's a man that's been persecuted because he can predict earthquakes, and he's generally pretty close. And he theorizes that HAARP has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's done a lot more research into
He's in
that
jail?
than I have. No.
Persecuted.
Persecuted, not prosecuted.
I was
Big
so
difference.
confused.
I'm pretty sure that the one of the many multi-letter organizations have actually given him cease and desists. The North American Geological Survey, or one of those guys that's responsible for that kind of shit, is like, stop, you can't do this. And he's like, fuck you, I don't do what you tell me. Yeah. He's crazy good. But like when Australia was like set on fire, what, last year or the year before?
2 years ago, yeah.
People were saying that it looked like there were laser beams coming down, igniting these fires. Some of them were caught on camera.
Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Is that HAARP, or is that like Star Wars program version, whatever they're on?
There's so many companies out there that could be at fault.
Did you know that in 2001, I believe it was 2001. I should not pull dates out of my ass ever, but I do. Here we go. In 2001, it was after September 11th, like a couple of months. There was an initiative going through Congress that it was to outlaw weapons in space and basically everything that we've been talking about. The Star Wars program would have been shut down, or whatever it's called now, because we know that they love to just change names of shit and go, oh yeah, no, it's not a thing anymore.
That's not us at all.
Right, yeah, we didn't do that. That was the other guys. Case in point, HAARP. And like weather manipulation, any of that would have been completely like illegal for the US.
Snoop Lion.
What?
Sorry.
And it was not passed. Not even close. It got like 3 votes.
Yeah, I really don't know. I do think that weather manipulation is a thing, whether that is HAARP or not, because
and so there, like,
because it's still happening. Weather manipulation is still happening.
There are so many facilities. There are ones that we don't know about, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there are ones in Russia and in China.
Yeah.
That can produce way more power
Again,
than what we're pushing out.
And back to the tornado in Brazil. That's not to say that someone in Brazil made that happen. That could have been fucking someone from the US.
It could have been HAARP.
Yeah.
Like,
Could've been.
theoretically. Okay. So, my Out of the Badger Hole, I think it was started as a weapon. I think they got all of the research that they needed out of it and then went to a straight like black budget site that we're not ever gonna know about.
No, yeah.
And that thing could probably get up into the hundreds of thousands of gigawatts,
Yep.
you know, level. Like I do genuinely believe that's happening. I'm in the same boat as you. I don't think that it's like shooting mind control beams into people's heads or anything like that. The hums though, I could definitely see
That's 100% possible though.
right.
Like,
The ground penetrating radar aspect of it,
feasible.
very feasible. If you're able to shoot telemetry data
Out
up
of our atmosphere.
into the atmosphere to then bounce off,
Yeah.
especially if you're working in conjunction with any number of satellites, which NASA was like, hey, how's this work? And then it took the satellite down for a couple hours. Like, I definitely think that it was used for nefarious purposes. I don't think that
100%.
I don't think that HAARP is anymore. Just because it's too out in the open, it's too public.
Oh, and people theorized it too much, so they're like, "Well,
Right.
wait,
Whoa, all these conspiracy theories they're wrong, guys. I could see Russia from my backyard.
which isn't like, yeah, I don't know.
That's just a Sarah Palin quote from again before your time.
Yeah, I'm young.
Yeah, I know.
No,
old.
I would agree with everything that you're saying. Weather manipulation happens. I think there's so much shit that goes on in this world, not just country,
Yeah.
because the whole world is as shitty as we think it is right now.
Well, yeah, no, definitely right now. Nobody can afford to like
Like
live.
like the UK, they're having so many fucking issues.
Everyone's having
Yeah,
issues.
so
It's a hard time to be alive.
it is, and it's not. It's like everyone's always like, "Oh, this country sucks. This country."
It's the world right now.
It's
though.
it's the everywhere right
yeah.
now. Like
And it's not because of like one political ideation or another or any
it's
of that.
just it's all overall violence. It's
It's
fucking
just people being shitty.
money. Like it's
And like violence and money, like war and greed are like what humans do best.
yeah.
So why if somebody that created something that could take waste materials from fucking plasma diffusion and turn that into something useful, if he was like, hey, you guys want to you want to control the weather and like improve all of your global communications and all of this other stuff that like he theorized it could do, the government would jump on that in a fucking second. And then of course they'd be like, yeah, you're the man, you're awesome, give us those patents. Okay, yeah, you money.
Now get the
okay,
fuck
bye.
out of here. Oh, it's the same thing with fucking. Oh, here you go, kids. I got candy in my van.
Right.
Deuces. Like
That's generally it's deuces with a kidnapped kid.
yeah, but it's just like you're gonna entice me, and you're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I got you. You're set up for life now. Thank you." Blah 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 blah.
I don't think your analogy worked the way you thought it would, but that's okay.
Probably not. I'm tired.
Same.
But like, I'm gonna entice you as much as I can, and then once I have what I want from you, you can now fuck off.
Yeah.
Not kindly. I don't really care.
So I will say he died of a heart attack instead of 2 taps to the back of the head. Worst case of suicide anyone's ever seen.
Yeah.
And he was 69 when he died. Nice. But he died at home with his wife and kids.
Okay.
So I mean, it was a natural death, unlike a lot of people involved in what become government conspiracies.
So many deaths.
Yeah. Oh, you created an engine that runs on anything other than petroleum? Get fucked.
Literally.
Yeah.
You talking about the guy that made the water cars?
Dude, there have been hundreds of them. The
Yeah.
Y-Files did a whole episode
Yeah.
and was just like listing off died, dead, died.
Yep.
He drowned in his car. I'm not fucking with you.
No, I know.
This guy choked on like
A hot dog while driving.
just like crazy shit. Yeah, 3 gunshots back of the head. It was ruled a suicide. This guy was found with injections between his toes, and he immediately had a coronary. Like fucked up shit. Our government will kill you.
Yeah.
Any big time government across the world will kill you if you're trying to change the power dynamic.
Have you I'm completely coming out of the badger hole and swapping topics and everything right now.
Wow. Okay. So out of the badger hole, HAARP was a weapon. It's probably not now.
Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
I think that there are still weapons out there of the sorts, but
a
I
million
it's HAARP anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
Because everybody knows the name.
yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone has theorized it enough to be like, well,
I think they figured some shit out, and they were like, okay, we can do this in a much smaller platform and way more off grid than Alaska.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened. Okay, what were you gonna say?
Have you heard of like zombie people in the UK?
No, in the UK.
In the UK.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I want to cover a topic. It's obviously they're not just called like zombie people, but it's something that happened in like 2002, and there was like a breakout of people who were eating people.
Was it like when that dude in Florida got high as fuck on bath salts and tried to eat his?
I haven't done too much research yet because I don't know when I want to do it or when I have the time to do it.
So I think at some point in the future we should do an episode where you do like all of your like little stuff that you want to touch on, because you don't have time to do as much research as me.
So just little
but if you're
snippets.
doing like research for this here, research for this here, research for that, and then we could take like, every like once a month you could do an episode, and I could put in my 2 cents, because like last time you mentioned the Tunguska event, and that one's pretty crazy, but it's like you explain it and it's like, yeah, that's crazy, and then
that's pretty much it. I also do want to do a true crime one on an unsolved case because those are more enjoyable.
I mean, technically the Dyatlov Pass is
unsolved
and true crime because we know that there were bodies found.
But I'm saying like an open case of like serial killers.
Oh, well, I got plenty of those on the list too.
Yeah,
like we have a master list.
Because I feel like all we've done really is conspiracy.
Yeah, just because that's like kind of where I tend to gravitate.
Correct. But we want to hit all of the audience.
We do. If you have any episodes genuinely suggestions,
like Kind Josh, he was the one that was like, do the Skinwalker Ranch.
Right, and Mel's Hole came from Autumn.
Yeah. Like, so did this come from anyone? No?
I mean, kind of shout out Mom.
Okay. That's what I figured.
She was watching Dutch Sense a couple of days ago, and I was like, man, I should really cover HAARP because that has befuddled me for a long time. But yeah, if you have any episode suggestions, questions, comments, concerns, you just want to call us assholes, feel free to. You can do it in the comment box down below.
If you came from TikTok because of his saying he likes all ages people, we appreciate you.
Yeah, or let's edit that out.
Absolutely not.
Great. Out of context quotes. Yeah, so our email address is badgerholepodcast@gmail.com. Obviously, we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, or anywhere else you listen to your podcasts. We're on TikTok. What is it? Just Badgerhole
Podcast.
Badgerhole Podcast, pretty much everywhere.
And if genuinely, we would like your comments for concerns and topics.
Yeah, we definitely need episode topics. Also, we're getting a Discord set up that people will be able to join, and you're going to be able to join a community there. We hope to cultivate, as well as episode topics, that kind of stuff. If you want to play video games with people you meet in there, there's going to be all sorts of stuff for that.
And that'll probably be set up in the next like 3 weeks or so.
Yeah,
like, we're not going to rush it too much. And honestly, it might be like once we hit 100 subs or something.
That'd be cool. And then like Patreon will be set up at some point. We already have a couple of videos that we can throw up there, but I want to have a solid viewer base before we do that. And more than anything, I want to have quite a few episodes out already. That way people can just binge us to determine whether or not they want to pay to listen to us.
100%.
Because like I listen to a lot of podcasts. I've only ever given money to a very select few, and that's because I've enjoyed hundreds and hundreds of hours of them saying things to me.
Yeah.
And not even to me, just saying things to each other most of the time.
And again, probably 3-4 weeks, we are going to be completely moving to a different area.
Yeah, so the studio will be
Different.
new and different,
And
hopefully less technologically annoying.
yeah, we're gonna. This is my office. This is my gaming room. This is my space. So I didn't
not
have
Facebook.
anything, huh?
You said MySpace.
So I didn't have it set up in the sense of, okay, this is how we're gonna do it. This is where we're gonna sit. I'm gonna completely base my office off of that in the new place because there's so many, like, this light is very nice and aesthetically pleasing, but it needs to be on behind so that we have more light facing us.
We got some stuff to work out, is all he's saying.
Yeah, yeah.
We might not post an episode on the week that you're moving.
We will.
We still will. We'll figure out how to record. That way we get you guys an episode. I do apologize for everything going up on Spotify at one time. Didn't realize that Spotify allowed video uploads, so that made my life way easier because I was having to wait for Chandler to audio rip everything and then do an MP3, even though I'm pretty sure the first 2 episodes are screwed up. But it doesn't matter. So anyway,
a gunshot.
It was a gunshot. That's fun. That's fun. Okay, so we're gonna wrap it up here, and that's it.
All
We're
right.
out.
That's really good. Great episode, Bad High Five.